live Q&A that we're going to have today. We're also going to have a little bit of a special guest, another member of the Service MVP family coming in and sharing some of their experience and helping out with that Q&A as well. So we're very excited to have that happening. And as we're doing that, I'm actually going to bring this person up to do a quick introduction before we get into the lesson. Hey, Sabrina, how are you?
I am smooth sailing and peachy keen. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good, doing good. Sabrina, can you
Good.
just give a little bit of an introduction for people who might be new here or who haven't met
Oh
you? Can you give us an
yeah.
introduction as to who you are?
Give me an opportunity to talk. Sure. No, so for anybody who hasn't met me before, my name is Sabrina Scott. I am one of the coaches here with Service MVP. I am, gosh, going on three, 3 years with being with Service MVP here. I came from the HVAC industry where I had the opportunity to use the process in the field for about 3 years. I've been coaching now with Service MVP for about 3 years. So if you guys have ever, been into eye care, if you guys have, ever been to any of our events, maybe you guys have seen me there before. I don't know if you guys were ever at True Grit or anything like that. Maybe you guys have seen some of our videos online. I do a lot of talking. I spend a lot of time with our coaches and our participants here. But yeah, I'm really excited to be a part of the book club here, and I look forward to interacting with you guys today. So thanks for having me.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, I say without further ado, Joe, I'm going to add you to the spotlight and let's get into it.
All righty, let's go ahead and get it. Welcome today to the MVP Book Club again. Today is the lesson called You Are Responsible. So at this point, you probably noticed a common theme building throughout this training. Success in pure motive service isn't about just technique. It's about taking 100% ownership of the outcome of every call or every opportunity we have to coach our team or even to help our family. So whether things go well or whether things go poorly, the most successful people believe I am responsible. So let's explore what that actually means and why it's such a game changer. Now imagine a football team where the quarterback refuses to take responsibility for what happens during the game. The quarterback would do something like, the defense played poorly. It wasn't my fault. The wide receiver dropped the ball several times. And the coach was calling bad plays. How are we supposed to win like that? That team wouldn't win much, would it? The quarterback's job is to take charge and adjust in real time and be adaptable to the outcome, good or bad. On every sales or service call, you are the quarterback. Now, you may not control the event, but you always control your response. The foundation of responsibility is willingness. The willingness to try new approaches, willingness to learn from mistakes, willingness to stay present and adapt, willingness to lead your clients through the uncomfortable conversations that sometimes take place to make sure they can get the service that's right for them. Most people just want a formula where they never have to get uncomfortable, but comfort won't produce breakthrough success. You have to learn how to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So if you want to grow, you must stay willing. And this brings us to one of our most powerful formulas you'll ever learn in pure motive service. And that formula is, write this down, E plus R equals O. E stands for the event, R stands for the response, and O equals the outcome. The event plus the response equals the outcome. Now, again, you can't change or control the event. If a client says that, I can't believe your prices are so high, that event has taken place. Now, it's your response that can make all the difference. You can't change what the customer says. So your response could be something like, well, John, I understand the investment is high, but it's an investment in your family. So we just care more, and that's why the investment's higher. These are the resources we need to serve your family. So what should we do? Well, most likely the outcome will be, oh, I understand. I just had that with a guy named Michael who was just calling me today. And he said, what do I do about the prices? Just tell the customer this is an investment in them, not us. And he said, hey, it worked. I can't believe it. Right? He just changed one response and he changed the outcome. So remember, you can't control the event or change it. You can only change or control your response. And that response will create the outcome that's right for you. So let's bring this formula to life. Again, a technician once told me, Joe, I ran a call last week and I was out there for 15 minutes and all they needed was a drain cleared. So it was $225 for a quick job and I was in and out. Now, at first glance, this sounds like a good, efficient call, but let's break it down using E plus R equals O. The event, the customer called with a clogged drain. The text response, he fixed only the immediate problem, clearing the blockage. He did no further diagnosis and he stopped his service there. He assumed there was nothing more to address. He sold the job for $225 and left. The outcome? He earned $225. He left potential work undiscovered. He left the customer vulnerable to future problems and his team vulnerable to callbacks that were not done because he simply didn't look into it. So what could have happened? Well, if the tech had applied pure motive service, he would have asked, how long has this been happening? Let me take a look at all the other drains in the house so we can make sure there's nothing else happening because all the drains are connected. How often do you get drain cleaning done? He would have scoped the drain with a camera, maybe took a look at all the access points. He could have discovered tree roots in the main line, a collapsed or deteriorated drain piping, other drains that were running slow or stopped altogether, like maybe in the bathtub or other areas like that, toilets that are running slow, other systematic issues affecting the whole system. The alternate outcome, with full diagnosis, he could have offered premium options, the complete full replacement of the pipes and the root mitigation, the mid-range option, partial replacement, ongoing maintenance, and the economy option with advanced jetting, cleaning out with warranty and service. It could have been anywhere from $12,000 down to, let's say, $1,200. Instead of $225, the job could have generated, $4,000 to $12,000 and provided far more valuable assets to the customer, which is the solution being fixed more permanently. So the lesson, it wasn't the clogged drain that limited the sale, it was the tech's limited response. The best service pros don't let the event control the outcome. They stay responsible for digging deeper, asking questions, diagnosing fully, offering all the possible solutions. That's how you transform every call from a transaction into a long-term client relationship. Well, one of the things I want to just close with is one of my favorite examples of personal responsibility, and it's Tom Brady. I know he's liked and disliked. When winners are not always popular. But Tom Brady was never the fastest, biggest, or strongest quarterback, but he became one of the greatest of all time because he took responsibility for every outcome. He never blamed the teammates, coaches, or circumstances. He studied harder, prepared longer, refined every detail of his crafts, and most importantly, he focused only on what he could control. Every play, every game, every season, Brady owned his preparation, execution, and leadership. You may not control the customer's mood, finances, or experiences, but you can control your process, your questions, your options, and your level of care. And just like Tom Brady, that level of personal responsibility will separate you from 99% of your competition. So here's some action items for everybody to do. And we'll talk about it on this call with Sabrina as well. Number one, you have to adopt the E plus R equals O mindset. And you can't control every customer or situation, but you can control what you could have done to create higher value. Two, let's review recent calls and just recent situations. What could you have done different? Make sense? So instead of saying there's nothing I could have done on that call, you could say, you know what? I should have made a better connection on that call. I could have changed the options or asked the customer which one was their favorite. I could have helped them get rid of some of the options we have. I could have lowered the price by getting rid of the warranty and the service. There's all kinds of things I could do. So when you're a technician or a salesperson or anybody, even an office staff worker answering the phone, think about the other things you can do, and then you can take full responsibility. Here's the final twist. If you accept personal responsibility for everything that happens to you, then you are under control and you control your own life. When you blame other people, you're putting your life into their hands so they can control you. Sabrina, what do you think of that concept? Is that something that I know it's hard because we all fall prone, we all get prone to say that's not my fault or that's not something I could help with.
Hmm.
Have you ever seen it before, even in yourself, or even I know I have a lot of times in my life where I was guilty of blaming other people or blaming the circumstances instead of taking my responsibility. What do you think of that, Sabrina?
Yeah, no, I believe that full heartedly. And funny enough, we were actually just talking about this, the call by call side of things today, where it's like, you can't control everything. You cannot control every moving component and aspect, but if there's anything that you can control, is yourself. You can choose how you respond. You can choose how you react to things. You can choose how you choose to move forward. Now, it's okay if you make mistakes. We're all human at the end of the day, but it's like how you learn from it. It's like you can't keep making the same mistake over and over again and be like, you know what, it's so and so's fault this time, or the stupid software system. Oh, it isn't working correctly. Or it's like, what do all of those things have in common? Yourself.
Hmm.
So how many times can we shift blame or shift focus until we recognize, hey, this is a me thing, not an everybody else thing. So get it,
That's
get it for
that's
sure.
good. Ethan, you want to come on and see if there's anybody who wants to say, I'm sure any of you, I guess the challenge would be this. You give me a situation where you think there's nothing I could do about this, right? Whether it's your personal relationships with people, whether it is your workplace, whether it is your customer with the client, you tell me about something and I will help you find your part of the responsibility that you could have taken. Because once you learn that and you realize there's something I could have done better, then you can now start to improve. But improvement starts by taking ownership of the problem before I can move on the lesson. So I said, even if you go to a 12-step program, admitting you have a problem is the first step in the program. Does that make sense? Admitting the problem you have is not manageable the way you're doing it now, that's the problem. With any kind of when you're addicted to dysfunction, it's like being addicted to alcohol or anything else. You are so attached to the thing that's not healthy and going to make you successful that it's more comfortable because you've always done it that way. So there are people who are addicted to dysfunction, and I've seen many of them. Every day I see this phenomena. So I want you to bring to me something you think you have no control over, and we will help you see if we can find just a little bit of responsibility you can take. What do you think of that? Is that a good challenge, Sabrina? We'll
Yeah,
see.
I love that. Let's
Yeah, I was
We can
gonna
help.
say,
actually,
I agree.
Because,
Yeah.
yeah, because then we can start with empowerment. You can now be empowered to make a change the second you take responsibility. That's when your life changes, the moment you take responsibility for the results. Let's go ahead, Ethan. Let's see what we can do.
awesome. Yeah, so let's open up the floor to everyone. If you have questions, as always, we have a raise hand button at the bottom, the Q&A button at the bottom, or just throw it in chat if you have any questions or want to share part of your story. But first off, we have our guest here, Sabrina. Sabrina, I want you to pick someone out from our attendee list and
Ooh.
pull them up, and we'll talk about this topic here today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I see a lot. I see some familiar names and faces. I see some unrecognized. I see a lot of note takers, a lot of observers. I love to see that. So let's go ahead, and I'm gonna invite this person. Ethan, I may have you assist with this, but let's get
Yes, I
Leah
can.
up here. And I'm bringing Leah up here because she's actually in call by call with me, and she's been a part of our program, I think, since February. February. So she's had a lot of growth. She's got a really, really good team there with her, and she asked a lot of really good questions. So I'd love to get her thoughts on this as well. We actually just talked about this earlier in call by call.
Perfect. She just accepted that invitation, so we're going to give her a second to turn on her microphone and her camera. There she
Hi.
is.
Thanks,
Hello, Miss
Sabrina.
Leah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I just, like I said, I was like, I just had you. I was like, you're already prepared. You're already ready. You've already been ready with questions from us all day today. So appreciate you for coming in and hanging out with us again. So Joe had brought up the matter of, well, what are some gaps? We've talked about gaps here recently, right? So what are some gaps that maybe we're running into where we can just kind of look inward and say, like, okay, you know what? Yeah, it's a gap. But also at the same time, how am I a contributing factor to this? How can I help move the needle to get us in the right direction? How can we grow and overcome from this?
I think the gaps, it was really good to watch the 5 levels of a dysfunctional team today because I think I've hit every single one of those at different moments of the day, actually. Um, so I think that's where I really like what Joe was talking about is being accountable and taking the blame. And I think that's probably a good life lesson in general, is to live your life that way. So that kind of builds on the character of being the same in and out.
You know,
Uh,
and I think Leah, I think taking responsibility, and I always say, like I gave up a lot of things. I think I mentioned several times in the training. I gave up complaining, I gave up blaming, I gave up what do you call it? Talking about other people behind their back. I try to give that up. It's hard to do it, but I definitely try. I give up negativity and always try to see the positive in people and being an optimist. So I try to give that up. But at least you have taken a position. It doesn't mean that you're not going to still falter because we're all humans and we all kind of get back to it again. But the thing I say about taking responsibility, it's a little bit different than blame because responsibility means it says the ability to respond. That's kind of the compound word there. And so when you use the word blame, it's only one word and it kind of sticks there. Like I blame myself. And it stops there, right? But if I'm responsible, I have the ability to respond. So responsibility is an action word and allows us to move forward from this momentary bit of blame I'm going to take, a responsibility in a way. I think we have to make sure that we change the word, like, verbal packaging. You probably know I believe in verbal packaging. This is a really good example of verbal packaging. You could say I'm blaming myself, or I could say I'm taking responsibility. Taking responsibility means I'm grabbing a hold of this and we're gonna go to a different place. So we're gonna move somewhere different. Blaming is like, boom, I suck. I get blaming myself. you know, in a way, does that make sense here? So I want to
yeah.
make sure that we uh, choose the words carefully because in a way, when we say, yeah, this is my fault, it's like, yeah, you're kind of stuck there at that point. It doesn't naturally move you to another place. Does that make sense, Leah? Does that add up?
No, that's good because it gives you a way to move forward. I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think people interpret the word blame or my fault. Those are words I think that are stuck. So if you put the category of what's the negative way of looking at this, I blame myself, I'm at fault, I suck, So those are all the things that's not going to be very positive self-talk. As you know what, I'm taking responsibility. I can change. I can make this change from here on out. I can take it from here and rebuild this again. I can work on the next relationships. So in a way, responsibility focuses on the now and also into the future.
Right.
Fault, blame, and negative self-talk, it only talks about what happened in the past in a way. Does that make sense, sir? So, it's a good. I'm happy you brought it up though. So don't feel bad. It's not your fault. It's like, it's
Well,
like,
that's a good way to look at it. Thank
it's like
you.
it really helped the conversation, honestly, because just saying the word "I blame myself" or "I'm at fault," it kind of makes us stuck there. Sabrina, what do you think about that? The use of language and the importance of that.
Yes. Yes. What did they call that? It's like it's okay to take the accountability and just kind of acknowledge it, but you don't have to like kick yourself in the shins over it. You don't have to have the negative self-talk because, if you're not kind to yourself and you're not, holding yourself with the same grace as you'd want for your team, it's going to transpire into other things as well. So of course, show yourself some grace as well. Again, we're all human. We all, make those mistakes from time to time. But, the good news is that that ends today. We're able to grow from it moving forward. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so what kind of things do you think that let's bring up something. If there's something you can say, here's something we could improve on, instead of, I guess, blaming and complaining or taking a fault on it. What are some things that you can say that, we need to do better on? I need to take responsibility on this part. My piece of this is, could it be the training, the coaching, something you may have done, that you could say, I need to take more responsibility on this element. What do you think, Leah? What kind of things can you I can. How about if you want me to go? If you want me to go first and tell you what I could do better, I could definitely have a long list. That might be. We might have to take the entire show for that list. But if you want
Well,
to, I call this a competition for responsibility. So let's have a game called "Let's Compete for More Responsibility." Who can take the most amount of responsibility? I know I'm probably going to lose to you two because you guys sound like you're about ready to take some really good stuff. But Leah, what kind of things can you say? You know what? I need to take more responsibility with this. What can you think you can do? Let's do it in a positive way so it doesn't sound like we're blaming ourselves. What do you think, Leah? What can say, I could think I could take more responsibility with blank. What do you think, Leah?
I can take more responsibility with implementation
Mm.
and building consistency for the team so that we all can really um, know the process, internalize it, and it becomes our culture.
And then with the implementation, after it's been implemented, then you got to take responsibility for what? To make sure it stays implemented. What would you have to take responsibility for there? So I need that. Then after that, I'm going to then take more responsibility for what after that?
Is this inspect what I expect?
There you go. To make sure I
Even
look
for
at the
myself.
account. I need to take more responsibility for checking on the results. And I have a bunch of employees. Maybe I can have one give me the results every day, so I know that we can assign somebody I'm paying to give me the results and make that their job. So I need to be more responsible, make sure that somebody brings this to me because it's too hard for I get my bandwidth is. So if your bandwidth is too big, I'm so busy. I don't got time for this stuff. That's the negative part. You know what? I need to take more responsibility for doing what if you're too busy and you got employees you're paying. Leah, what would be the thing that you could take responsibility for there to do something different than taking all the stuff on yourself?
I could delegate tasks and have them
Hmm.
report back to me.
I could do much better. I could be definitely more responsible. I've been irresponsible in delegating my tasks better. Like,
Yeah.
you kind of see how that already. What do you think, Sabrina? Does that sound like a good? By the way, she already has a punch list now that she could start doing right now to change things today. I mean, you didn't know you were going to get therapy, Leah.
Surprise. It's your lucky day. But yeah, no, I think those are good bullet points, focus on. And I love to hear, I was smitten when you said, inspect what you expect. It's like we've heard that like 18,000 times. I'm like, we say it in our sleep, right?
That's
So
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that those are really good points. And it's a breath of fresh air to have that sense of awareness or have our team leads. We talk about there's a difference between management and a difference between leadership. And when you take accountability and you recognize, hey, here's what I need to do moving forward so I can be a better leader, that's step one. That's the biggest step right there is having that acknowledgement. So, absolutely. I agree with those things.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Oh, my
Yeah,
pleasure. Thank you. Nice seeing you, Leah. Again,
You
definitely don't
too.
be a stranger. Keep coming back because it works if you work it, and you're worth it.
there you go.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Leah.
I'm going to make you an attendee again. So you're going to pop right back down there. Cool. I see a couple more questions coming through. First, we're going to get to George and then Kayla. I see your question in there as well. So we will get to the Kayla question hour that we have here weekly. But George, first off, I'm going to promote you to panelist. So if you just accept that as that comes through, we'll give you a second to hop on. Perfect. George accepted. So if you could just throw on your camera and audio for us, George, that would be great. There we go. George, how are you?
Hey, how are we doing today?
We're
Great.
good. How are you, George?
I'm fantastic.
Good, good. We're happy to have you here with us. So
This
he
is George
asked,
from Brody Pennell, right, George?
Yeah, how are you
there you
doing, man?
go.
How you doing, man? It's about time. It's about time you just stumbled across over here. You said, "Let me
Dude, you
check
know
it out and
what?
see what's going on over here."
Yeah,
What do you think of the
I made
message
sure I
today,
made it
George?
today.
George, what do you think of today's message? Taking responsibility to make sure that you
Yeah,
can inspire that in your team.
I put in, implement uh the training, right? You've come through, you've done training with us, you've worked with my technician. Um, I personally have my ways on how to go about things, but then also like you came out here, you literally went over this with us. I feel like I should be doing or should have as a at least implementing and helping this training go through.
Well, I think we go through the same thing that Leah did. You know what? I could take responsibility for delegating more to other people, because you have a powerful team there at Brody Pennell, one of the most powerful teams in Southern California. And they're all waiting for an assignment from you. Does that mean, like, honestly, if you said, hey, could I give you this assignment? And they go, me? Like, what is it? Well, I'd like you to help the team with this lesson that Joe taught and enroll people. That would be, to me, because again, you are a man that is swamped with your bandwidth is filled. I mean, I seen you operate over there. Holy crap. I mean, I don't know how many people you got, like 50 people or whatever over there. It's a lot of people there.
Quite a
So
few.
so there's no way you're going to be able to do that. There's only one way you're going to lead this team, George, and that's together with other people. It's going to be leading a team of things, and that's what everybody's waiting for. They're waiting for, upper management. Like, when is George going to start enrolling other people to help him with this? Doesn't he know that he can access these people and get help from them? He can ask his people underneath him to take some assignments on this thing, because that's really, that if you did that, you would do less work on yourself and share the responsibility, because responsibility is a gift, George. You kind of see that, like, if I give somebody the gift of responsibility, then they can control their life. They can control themselves better, and they can help influence other people on the team. If I gave them this, sometimes we think. Let's talk about this, George. Sometimes we think if we give somebody else some responsibility, that they think it's a burden of responsibility. What do you think about that? You want to comment on that, George? You want to say what you say there?
No, I could understand that. I could see it too, right? Hey, asking you to do something and maybe getting in my head that, hey, they don't want to do, or even beating myself up before they even have the chance to respond. So I could see that.
And sometimes we assume that people wouldn't help with this project, or that I assume Joe's so busy he can't take my call. He wouldn't want to help me. I mean, honestly, I'd probably faint if you called me and said, Joe, can I get your help on something? I'd be like, stop. Is this George? The George? Are you sure I got the right person? Like, I'd be happy if you called me, honestly. And I think your people would be happy if you shared some of the responsibility with them too, to implement what we've already taught and things like that, right? And everybody's got a different style. Like, for instance, Zach down in Absolute Airflow, he's got his own style, which way different than your style. However, both styles can still be effective. And I personally, I think your style is more closer to my style, honestly, because Zach is pretty hardcore. Does that make sense, there, George?
Yeah, it does for sure.
But you know what? Whatever the style is, people got to feel that you're trying to help them. Sabrina, how important is it that the people you're trying to lead look at it like it's assistance or it's a service that the manager is providing, as opposed to a burden that he's providing onto me? What do you think about that, Sabrina?
So you're telling me that it's important to let your team know that they're cared for, respected, and supported? Is that what I'm hearing correctly? So
That's
yes.
pretty a good one, yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is with all that is that, you have to lead with the integrity factor. Like, if you are not setting the example, you can't expect other people to follow you into that. So if you lead with, hey, I need support, and you're okay, you're not so prideful that you don't ask for it. Okay, that lets me know that I can let my guard down a little bit. I can trust this guy. He's human. I'll lead him. I'll follow him to wherever it is that he's leading to, right? But you have to make sure, Miss Leah was talked about this earlier, inspect what you expect. So if there is an expectation that you're trying to set, you have to make sure that you're doing that too. But you have to make sure that you are leading from a place of like, hey, I'm doing this for you because, you are supporting them. It's not you. I'm telling you to do this, or, we talked about this. You have to make sure that you are leading and setting that example. Because if not, if I don't see you doing it, well, why should I trust you? Why should I follow you? So make sure that you're setting that example and make sure that it's a positive note to be stepping with, for sure.
And George brings up a good example of this is a great thing, because I went out there and worked with Brody Pennell, but I need to take responsibility too, because I don't think I ever had a one-on-one with George and said, George, let's just talk for 15 minutes about what we're going to have to do from here. So that's on me too. I did not exactly thread the needle on that one. I have to take but you know what? I think we can restore this relationship, George. I'll contact you, and we can definitely come up with the next assignment that you can do, that you can start giving your team, and build this future together. Because again, I can't help your team by myself. I think I tried to take on too much myself, and I kind of thought you did too, honestly. I think together we both got to start getting the team involved. I think that's where the sweet spot is at, George. What do you think of that?
I do.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
George, thanks for coming.
that'd
What a
be
pleasant
a great
surprise.
help.
What a pleasant surprise. It's like, man, this is like back in the day when you'd have like a surprise guest come on. That was definitely a surprise. Thanks for coming on, George. And
Yeah,
by the
man.
way, Brody Pinnell has one of the finest teams in all of Southern California. And definitely when you have a guy like George helping you, you definitely got one of the very best there. So George, thanks for coming on here. I appreciate you.
Yeah, not a problem, man. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, George. George, I'm going to move you back to an attendee, so please accept that when it comes in. And we are going to bring up Kayla. Kayla, you know the drill. Hit that accept button when you get the invite to be promoted to panelist. Turn on that camera and audio, and we will get going.
Well, hello everybody. How we doing today?
Hey,
We're
Kayla, you're
good.
back
How are
again.
you, Kayla?
I'm doing pretty darn good myself.
Good.
Just been running into two things lately. One is how customers want us to bend our time frames to fit them specifically versus how we already have them established. And that's becoming more and more prominent lately and causing a couple of issues. So I wanted to hear from the two of you on how I could better take hold of those conversations or maneuver them to our specific time frames.
I think it's a great subject, especially considering what we're talking about today. Could you be a little bit more clear though about exactly the scenario so we can kind of dig in that a little deeper?
Okay, so we have two time frames. First one is 12 noon to 4 p.m. Second one is 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. This specific customer wanted us to show up between 4:30 and 5. And I was like, well, our time frames are what they are so that we can get to all of our customers in a timely manner and not have to worry about extra travel time, rescheduling, just make it easier for everyone. And she goes, well, I don't get home till about 4 o'clock, 4:30. I'm like, I understand that. I can put you in this time frame and tell the tech that you prefer this time, but I cannot guarantee that that would be how things go with the workday and how everything flows.
Now, I want you to rephrase that to take responsibility there. Sabrina, you see something you heard there? Do you like to go ahead and take this one, Sabrina?
Yeah, a couple different things here. Hello, Kayla. I hope you're doing well. So obviously the E plus R equals O. Okay. So there's going to be things in this situation that you can control, and then there's going to be things that you can't, right? So one of the biggest things that we focus on is focusing on the things that we can do. Here's what I can do. So to kind of create a little bit of like a understanding as to where the client is coming from, have you ever had to call like customer service about something, maybe like a charge you had a dispute on your card, or maybe you had to call Amazon and they're like, okay, well, you know what, we can't do this or we can't do that, and they're constantly telling you about the things that they can't do. Have you been in a situation like that before?
Yes.
How frustrating was that?
Well,
Right.
I'm a little different with this because for me, it's like, okay, if that's not something you can do, how about we figure out what we can do?
Yeah, exactly. But our clients sometimes that we interact with, they don't have that mentality. It's just like, okay,
Yeah.
like, well, what can you
If we
do,
stop,
right?
if we just stop right
Yeah.
there and say you, the consumer, had to
Mhm.
think of an idea, right?
Yeah.
So who's providing the service now? So Sabrina made a good point. The
Mhm.
company said we can't do this, we can't. You said, well, here, maybe we can do. Like you're coming up with an idea what we can do, and you're the consumer, you're the customer.
Mhm.
You see how that's not a good look? So instead of that, go ahead, Sabrina, continue. I know where you're going with this,
Yeah.
but go ahead.
He's like, hey, let her
I just
cook.
had to jump in on that part because it was such a good opportunity to see
Yes.
that you're making the consumer do the work by thinking, "Here, can you do this instead?" Like,
Mhm.
you're making them think of new ideas, right? But who should think
Right.
of new ideas, Kayla? I'll just let Kayla answer this. Who should think of new ideas, the customer
I should.
or you?
I should.
There you go. So
Right.
let's go ahead, Sabrina, continue on with that conversation.
Right. Exactly. So we're coming up with the things that we can focus on. Like you can't control what time she gets off work. You can't control, what time, there's only so many things that we can do before we recognize, hey, I can give you those options. I can respect you enough to give you a multiple different options. Here's what I can do. What should we do? Right? So like unless you got like a magic wand, tucked in your drawer at your desk there and you're able to like work some magic and put people in places where they can or can't be, that's going to be a different conversation. But the fact is, here's what I'm able to do. And it's going to be up to you to decide whether or not you choose to roll with that. Here's what I'm able to offer you. What should we do? Now, if she's upset and she's like, what? She's going to make it work. She's going to make it work. So if she wants somebody to be there to help her, she's going to make those accommodations. She's going to make it work. Or it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation where it's like, okay, maybe this client isn't for us, but you have to respect them enough to let them make that decision. But if you are constantly juggling around and you're jumping at their beck and calling, what does that say to you as a service provider? It's like if I'm a premium service provider, I'm giving you what I can, but if you're running and jumping for her, that's going to show her like, hey, you don't respect your time. And that's an uncomfortable realization as well. Now, we don't think that way. Like we're just trying to take care of people. We're just trying to have good intentions. But if you're cutting those corners and you are, maneuvering to her schedule and what she's demanding of you, what does that say about you guys? What does that say?
That we don't stick to what we believe in.
That's it. That's it. And if you look at all the things you can do there, what she's requesting at 4:30 to 5, you said?
Basically,
At 4:30 to 5:30 or something like that? And you're
yeah,
saying it's 4 to 7, yours is, right?
it's 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. is the window.
3 p.m. to 7 p.m. So what I can do is because what was she asking? She doesn't get home till 4, she said?
Yeah.
So what I can do is put a note on your account to dispatch after 3:45. This way the guy wouldn't get there till 4 or after. Uh, I can give you the 3 to 7 time frame, but I can make a note on there to not dispatch him till 3:45 on that one if we do that. Also, I can put it down from 3 to 7. And if you find somebody else who can meet your time frame more precisely, I can always cancel the call if you'd like me to as well. So should we go ahead and schedule between 3 and 7? And then you can always cancel if you find somebody who's got a more precise time frame. Or would you like me to go ahead and mark the account with 3:45 dispatch so the guy doesn't get there till 4 or after or later? What should we do? Like those are like two solid choices I think you can do there. Make sense? Well, here's what we can do. I can book it from 3 to 7. I'll make a note for myself in bold, uh, dispatch after 3:45 to make sure the technician doesn't show up before 4 o'clock because it'll take 15 minutes to get there at least. So I'll do 3:45, put that down. I'll make a note for myself and I'll make sure I don't send somebody out to 3 after 3:45. Then it would be from, say 4 to 7. I'll put it down from 3 to 7 just to have on our time frame windows. And then I can also just if you find somebody with a more precise time frame that you can use instead of our company, I can always cancel it too if you call me back to cancel at that time. So what should we do? Yeah, I put it down for 3:45. That sounds fair, more or less. You know what I'm saying there, Kayla? So only think about the things we can do and remove anytime you hear yourself say the word can't or we don't do that. Even if somebody says, do you guys do concrete in the garage? Actually, what we can do is ask my boss and see if he has somebody who knows how to do that in our area. He's very connected to other businesses. Let me go ahead and write this down and make a note for myself. I'll ask my boss, and what I can do is let you know the status on that about whether we can find somebody to help you with that. Obviously, our company does doors only. But we can see if we have a partner who does that concrete work as well. Does it make sense, sir? So even if I remember I used to give my employees, Sabrina, I said, even if somebody says, can you change the light bulb on the top of the Sears Tower? Do you guys do that job? And I say, well, here's what we can do. Let me get your information down, and I'll talk to some of my other contractors I know that we can see if we can find an electrician who would do that job. I'll take it down. So I want to say, no, we don't do that because we're a heating company. We don't change light bulbs on top of and they don't even call it the Sears Tower anymore. It's called the Willis Tower. But anyway, the bottom line is that, we can do is take that information down and ask my boss, and I'll give you the status of what we can find here. Make sense here, guys? So, and maybe you don't find somebody to help the person, but you can say, you know what? I did look online and I found a couple resources that could help you with this. So here's a couple phone numbers I can give you. I don't have any experience with those, but I can give you at least a starting point to look at, search under this. My boss said to search for this, term, and then you'll come up with a solution. I actually searched a couple for you already. Here's what the search came up with. Does it make sense, sir? So, so even something like that is still service, and you're in the service business, so try to do as much as you can. Good call on that one. Good one, Kayla. It fits right. Fits like a glove. Responsibility always fits every subject, doesn't it, Sabrina?
That's true.
It's
That
like,
is true.
when does it not fit? Never. It always fits every time. Thank you, Kayla.
Awesome.
All
Thank you
right,
so much,
thank you.
Kayla. I'm going to make you an
Thanks,
attendee
Kayla.
again. Awesome. And then Sabrina, I'm going to throw it to you. Do you see anyone? All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's MVP Book Club. We're going to, as always, wait just a couple of minutes here, wait for everyone to get in. I see some people are coming into the room here. So we're just going to hold on here for a second. We've got a really great episode for you guys today. Joe's got an amazing lesson here that you guys are definitely going to want to stay for the full thing for. And as always, as we're getting more and more people joining in, what's up, Kevin? How's it going, Johnny? Awesome. As always, as we're going through this thing, as Joe is talking about his lesson, as he's answering other people's questions, as we're just having conversation, be sure to put either questions or comments, or if you want to come up and share part of your story, share something that's been valuable to you. We've got 3 ways to do that. First off is just hit us up in the chat. We've got the Zoom chat. That's going to be the easiest way to do it. The second way is the Q&A. So at the bottom of your Zoom, you have a Q&A button there at the very bottom. And then the third way is to just raise your hand. There's also a button at the bottom of your Zoom that says raise hand. All you got to do is do that, and we'll bring you up and we'll get you on the panel and we'll start talking to you. So whether that is questions, doesn't even have to be a question. It can be sharing part of your story that you think is going to be helpful for other people, or just talking with us, talking with Joe, and making sure that we're hitting those things for you. Because really the benefit of this for you guys, I've said it once and I'll say it a million times, is that we're here to give, one-on-one support with what Joe is talking about for here today. So if you hear Joe's lesson and you hear the book club this week and you're thinking that you might have a situation that's kind of similar, but you're not seeing how the results can translate, raise your hand, come up. We'll chat with you and we'll see how it can fit for your business specifically. And if there's something way out there, I'm sure there's nothing that Joe hasn't seen before that we can help you out with. So as we're going through this, I think we've spent enough time waiting for people to get in. Throw that in one of those 3 places: the chat, the Q&A, and raising your hand using the button at the bottom. So with that, I'm going to hit the spotlight on Joe here. And without further ado, I'd like to once again introduce Joe Crisera, America's Service Sales Coach. Joe, why don't you take it away?
Hey, everyone, and welcome to the program this week. And Ethan, thank you for getting us started here. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to the MVP Book Club Lesson 5 this week of What Should We Do? Our best-selling book, now on demand. In the app, if you have the Service MVP app, it is in the library. Look at the upper top left and you'll find it there. So the purpose of today's meeting is going to be defining the heart of service and its values. And I'm going to introduce the foundational mindset shift that will turn from sales and persuasion into customer service. Today, we're going to be introducing the concept at the heart of the entire book called pure motive service. Now, this is more than just a phrase. It's a way of thinking and acting that shifts your role from being a salesperson to being a true servant leader. So let's talk about the origin of the name and how pure motive service got started. I'm going to take you back to a time in one of our early total immersion events in 2004. And you had a gentleman named Rick Picard, who is one of the top HVAC salespeople in the country. He now sells over $12 million a year, and he has sold over $10 million a year for the last 10 years straight. So he's been a very high performer using the pure motive service system. Now, in 2004, he walked up to me during a break at the event that we do called the live event called Total Immersion, which we hold every single month. Like we have one coming up in August. If you'd like to attend a live event, Rick walked up to me during that live event and during the break, and he said, "Joe, you know what you're teaching, it should be called pure motive service." And I said, "What exactly, could you repeat that again? What exactly is what you're saying there again?" And I couldn't quite get an answer from him. He goes, "Well, pure motive service is really what you're teaching them, because you're really teaching us how to serve from a higher level, coming from our higher power that's inside of all of us." And he said, "You're teaching people how to serve others without expecting anything in return." And I said, "That's interesting." He told me, he said, "You give people the opportunity to purchase more, but if they don't, that's okay. You're still going to be their friend. And you're just offering options with a pure motive." And that stuck. And from that moment on, the name Pure Motive Service became the North Star of what we teach. It's inside my heart. So even when I get nervous about presenting something to somebody, I'm like, you know what? I just had a guy this morning. His name is Pat. I think he's on the meeting here today, actually, with us. And he's like, "What am I going to do to help this guy?" He's in Mobile, Alabama. And I'm like, "Oh man, he's like kind of like far away from what we're trying to do." I said, "You know what? Let me just give him pure motive service to let him understand what we're doing." And that's a good example of it, right? Pure motive service is a principle centered sales system focused completely on the benefits that clients get to build. Number one, meaningful customer connections to lift the client's self esteem, and also to find and solve problems before they occur without being asked. And here's the biggest part: once you get to have that meaningful customer connection and to lift the client's self esteem, it's important to use that connection to offer customized, relevant, personalized solutions, and also to make the problems customized and relevant so people know how it affects their family as well. The results of it will be when you do it right without expecting anything in return, you will then get increased average tickets and close rates, reduce the amount of callbacks, and there'll be no buyer's remorse. Even when people pay 5 to 10 times more money than they would have paid before, they're doing it voluntarily because they can see that the quality and the reliability, the safety and health of their family has been taken care of, the customer service, so they don't got to do stuff in the future. They're going to be taken care of, and to make sure that it's customized and relevant to them, and that it's honest, even when it's not popular. Because, now the reason that pure motive service works so much, and why does it like flip a switch where one day you're not selling anything and the next day you are selling 3 to 5 times more? It works because you're not trying to close the deal. You're trying to give a client a clear window into what is possible and letting them choose what best fits their life. It's about trust. It's about clarity. It's about genuine service. So the eternal conflict we have, let's face it, most calls that we have opportunity begin with some level of mistrust. The client assumes you're going to try to charge a lot of money or sell them something they don't want. You assume they're going to fight you on the price. That's the eternal conflict. We think get the job done the right way, and it's going to cost more money. The client thinks, I don't want to spend any money. I want to do it as cheap as possible, which means that they still want to have a high quality, but for a lower price. And of course, we all know that charging the cheapest price will not get you the highest quality. And the eternal conflict, at the heart of that eternal conflict, is a poorly informed client versus a high-level professional who just wants help. So most techs try to avoid the conflict by presenting the cheapest option and hoping the client says yes. But that only creates more conflict later when the cheap fix breaks down again. Pure Motive Service solves this by offering a full system diagnosis and a full report on what you found from a technical perspective. It also includes making sure that you are providing the impact on the client so they know. We're going to show you in our app, so stick around if you want to see the Option Builder AI. We're going to show you how it does do exactly that, the full system diagnosis, as well as the impact on the client, and then a full menu of the options, premium, mid-range, and economy. And so when you only offer the cheapest fix, you are a door that blocks the view of any other enhancements or other possibilities clients could get. And when you do Pure Motive Service, you lay out a range of options and you're a window that shows you, the client, the possibility of everything. So it empowers clients to choose. And more importantly, it creates accountability for the results. Pure Motive Service providers say, here's everything I found. Here's all the ways we can fix it, from the premium, mid-range, economy, or if you want to put it this way, the permanent, the professional, and the temporary. We have 3 ways of doing it. Just choose the one that's right for you. What should we do? Now, let's talk about the 5 values. So you can kind of say, we're going to dive into it next week a little bit deeper. Let's talk about the 5 values that build Pure Motive Service. And so these are your anchors. So write this down, get a pen and paper, or you can come back and listen to the recording, because this will be recorded and put in Service MVP so you can listen to it later. All the recordings of the MVP Book Club will be in there this week. I'm trying to guarantee by Friday we'll have all of them in there by this week. Number 1, the first Pure Motive is enhancing the quality of the solution. So it's going to be overbuilt and heavy duty, and the reliability. So quality and reliability, that is to diagnose the entire system and make sure that we offer a long-term reliable solution, not just a quick fix. The second Pure Motive value is protecting the safety and health of our clients, addressing risks at the root, showing genuine care for the well-being of your client and their family. Again, next week, we will show you exactly how to unpack these Pure Motives to make sure you know how that's going to be represented. Number 3, for Pure Motives, providing customer service choices to anticipate the needs, offering more than they asked for. If somebody just wants to get this thing fixed, we're going to offer them more to fix it with a more heavy-duty component. If they say we have something that's just one component's wrong, we have a drain that's clogged or something like that, we're going to show them how to rebuild the piping so the drain doesn't clog again, so the fractured pipe doesn't clog. Makes sense? So anticipating the needs, offering more than they asked us for, but also don't forget to put that in there in the prices, because the price will be higher if we do more than people ask us for. And that's just one of the choices, right? We'll surprise them with thoughtful solutions. Number 4, customize relevant solutions. These are where we learn about the family and make the problems more customized and relevant, and make the solutions also more customized and relevant as well there too. And then finally, the final Pure Motive is honesty, even when it's not popular. You share the whole truth about all the problems that are happening and what caused the problems to happen. And then we show you all the solutions, the whole truth about how you fix all the problems, not just the problem we're having today, but the problems that are going to happen in the future. The best way to put that is to make sure that if you're buying tires for a car, even though there's 3 tires that are not flat and 1 tire's flat, we're going to replace all the tires. And if I have the car up on the rack, why don't we get the brakes done and get the shocks done at the same time? That's something where you're getting everything at one time. Make sense? To share the whole truth, that the premium option, the mid-range, you're going to have more of a professional, and the bottom option is going to be more temporary. And that's what Pure Motive Service is all about. These 5 values are what make Pure Motive Service both ethical, moral, and effective. So, the magic question: how do you move the sale forward without pressure? You use the magic phrase that inspired the title of this book. What should we do? I found the problems and how they affect your family. I will tell you that. Here are the solutions. The top ones are permanent and will last for 5 years or 12 years if you get the equipment. And then the bottom option is a temporary option. The one in the middle is professional. What should we do? Now, it's not what do you want to do or can you afford this? We're not going to get into that kind of stuff. What should we do implies teamwork. It keeps the decision in the client's hands where it belongs, and it invites ownership and collaboration between us and the client. And most importantly, it gives your client the dignity of making a choice. And let's put it this way, guys. The United States of America was founded on freedom, and I believe in the freedom to choose. So here are the action steps for all of you in the MVP Book Club this week. Write down the 5 Pure Motive values on a sticky note or index card before each call and review them and ask yourself these questions. Ask yourself, am I finding and solving problems before they become critical, or am I waiting for things to break down and then fixing them one at a time? Number 2, am I showing all the options to solve the problems today and in the future? Or am I just doing the cheapest thing possible and then waiting for a callback so we have to come back next time to bother the client? I want you to ask yourself, am I being honest about all the problems in this system? And am I writing down all the problems? And am I being honest by writing down all the solutions, even when it's tough? I want you to ask yourself, am I treating this client with the care I would want for my own children and my own family? My mother and father, if they were at the end of their life, would I want to give them the same care? And at the end of the call, try this. Look the client in the eye and ask them, so what should we do? Remember, the pure motives: quality and reliability, safety and health, customer service to anticipate needs in the future, customize relevant solutions, and honesty even when it's not popular. That's the pure motive. Pure motive. Watch what happens. So now that you know the story behind the name Pure Motive Service and what it truly means and how its values form the foundation of everything we teach, these aren't just lofty ideals, they're actionable, practical standards that elevate your customer relationships and your results. Pure Motive Service works because it's built on trust, transparency, and total accountability. Now, in the next lesson, we're going to break down the 5 Pure Motive principles and the things you need to do to become if you want to succeed using this system. And this is where it all begins. The mindset starts becoming the skill set. We'll see you there. Well, next week, we'll see you there. Now, right now, Ethan, I think we're done with the lesson. We can now open up the conversation
Awesome.
for the anticipated Q&A to make sure that people are able to interact with us right now and answer. By the way, don't forget, we still have the Option Builder AI, the AI Option Builder. We're going to go ahead and do that before the end of the call. So if you have a suggestion or if you'd like us to do a particular option for whatever trade you belong to, we will show you how we can build the observations and the problems and also build the solutions on today's call. And every week we're going to do that, Ethan, the Option Builder option sheet of the week.
Absolutely. So for that, I know a lot of you guys that are currently on this Zoom were there during our option sheet, our Option Builder AI demo. However, for those of you who weren't, we have this amazing new tool, the Option Builder AI. And what that is basically if you want your techs to be able to save 20 minutes per call out in the field when they're sitting there writing out options, this option builder does it in less than 20 seconds. So it's an amazing tool that we're just getting out there. We're getting people signed up for it. We're getting people out there using it and making it better every single day. But in addition to the weekly book club, we're going to be doing some custom options for you guys out here. So if you guys want you guys want options built for you using this new tool, and for Joe himself to take you through it and to show you step by step what to do and to make those adjustments live and in real time, be sure to be joining us every week for those, as we're going to be picking out one person and doing that. But in the meantime, once again, if you have any questions for Joe right now, we are now opening it up to the Q&A portion of this. So if you have any questions for Joe, or if you have any, I would encourage you to come up if you have any stories of how Pure Motives has changed how you work in the field. And the good thing about Zoom here, Joe, is that I can actually see everyone who is attending today. So I'm going to be calling some people out. If we don't get questions from everyone here, I'm going to start calling some people out to get specific questions, or at the very least, to share how Pure Motives either changed their business or how they believe Pure Motives can change their business in the future. So ask your questions before I start calling you out. But before we do that, Joe, I've actually got a question myself. One of the first things that I wrote down that you were talking about was honesty, even if it's not popular. That's one thing that I know that I struggle with, is bringing people those options, even if they think that they might not be popular. If you've got those hangups in your head of things that you think that a client might push back on, if something is pretty expensive, or if it's going to be a more thorough job than they originally thought. Can you just talk me through kind of what you can do and things that you can tell yourself in order to make sure that you are being honest on those calls, even when you're in the back of your head going, oh, this isn't going to be super popular with my client here?
Repeat that question one more time to make sure I got the exact context of it one more time.
So if you're standing there with a customer and you know you've got that screaming voice in the back of your head saying the price that I present is not going to be popular, or the solutions that I bring are not going to be popular, what can I do when I'm sitting there face to face with the customer presenting these to get over that hurdle and be honest, even if it's not going to be popular?
I think that's the key thing, is transparency, right? So if you're uncomfortable sharing, let's say we find a severe problem. Like I remember I was in Kansas about 2 months ago, Ethan, and I found that I went on a maintenance call, and I found out of the 6 calls I went on the ride along. So I do sometimes do in-house training at companies. So I went out to this place, and the very first place I went on 6 calls. 5 of the calls had the air conditioning units within 3 inches of a dryer vent. I had the first call I went on, not only had the dryer vent 3 inches away, pushing lint right into the air conditioning unit, and I saw the gas meter was leaking gas from the gas regulator, and it was right next to the air conditioning unit too, within 18 inches from the unit. So this is an explosion hazard, and we are also packing the air conditioning unit with lint. Now, our company this company I was at in Kansas, they had been to this house like for 3 years straight, and nobody ever told the customer this. So you kind of see how I'm in a position here. I'm coming in from Los Angeles, California to ride along with service techs in Kansas. And I have to tell the homeowner that the state of Kansas, I looked it up on ChatGPT, and I found the state of Kansas requires that the dryer vent must be at least 6 foot away from the air conditioning outdoor unit because of the lint backing up the coil. And then secondly, that the gas meter has to be a 10-foot distance in the state of Kansas, and it's 18 inches away, and it's literally leaking gas right now, right? So I was like, well, and then the service tech is like, everything seems okay, right? I'm like, no, it doesn't seem okay. The unit's too close to the dryer vent. It's packed up with lint. He goes, well, I'm just going to clean that off. I said, yeah, but it's going to get packed up again within a month after we leave here. It's all summer. This is April. By the time June or July happens, this thing will be packed with lint, and it won't work. It's not going to cool the house properly. I said it's going to make the unit damaged too. And see the the outdoor thing was already rusty from the moisture from the dryer vent, rusting out the cabinet of the air conditioning unit. So it's funny thing is, Ethan, I went to the client and I said, Judith, I found we have finished the maintenance call and the system is actually operating fine. So it's still working mechanically fine inside the refrigerator. The charge is correct and everything is good. But we do have a problem that is a safety problem for your home that could cause a potential explosion hazard. And we do have something that is causing the unit to not cool all year long. It's going to wind up not cooling all year long, a performance issue. And I said, Judith, this is a maintenance call. I'm not going to force you to hear this information. So should I tell you this information or should I keep it to myself? Because I told her, I said, Judith, I'm a little nervous right now having to share this with you, because honestly, our company had been here 3 years straight and nobody had brought this problem up. So I'm a little bit nervous on approaching this to you because I'm going to give you honesty, even though it may not be popular with my company, because I don't want to make anybody feel bad. I don't want to make you feel bad, but I do want to make sure that I am honest, that I found a couple problems. Would you like me to share those with you? And so using those exact words, Ethan, now is the time where I feel like I need to be honest, even though it might not be popular. Is it okay if I tell you the honest truth, what I found with the system, or should I keep it to myself? And let the client make a choice there on which way they want to go. This way, should I just hide the information, or should I show you the information? Should I be a door that stands in the way of it, or a window that shows you the information? So if you're feeling uneasy about telling people something, like Ethan, if you wanted to tell Joe Crisera about something, Joe, I got something to talk to you about marketing. Should I tell you about it, or should I just hide it from you? What do you think I'm going to tell you, Ethan, if you told me that?
You're probably going to tell me to bring it to you.
And you say, should I bring it to you the easy way or just give it to you straight? I say, just give it to me straight, Ethan. And that's the industry. So I'm letting people know, to warn them that they're about to get information that may be a little bit upsetting. It may be upsetting to our company. It may be upsetting to you, but I'm the person who has to bring it to you because I want to be honest, even if it's not popular. So using the Pure Motives, the actual words in the Pure Motives, are things you're going to need as a toolbox, to feel comfortable bringing solutions you normally wouldn't bring. Like I remember I had Pat I talked about, who's probably here on the meeting today. I said, he's like, our guys don't want to show people anything. I said, well, then this is what you would do. You would just say, Joe, we don't show you anything, but right now I did find a problem that I was unaware of last year, and I want to show it to you this year. Should I show you the problem or should I keep it to myself? Let the client make that choice, Ethan. Does that make sense? But definitely you want to make sure that honesty, well, let's put it this way. If you're a really good friend with somebody, the hardest thing to do with a friend is be completely honest with them. If a friend had a dependency issue with alcohol or drugs or something like that, you wouldn't be a good friend if you didn't shoot straight with them and tell them that that's not something you can be involved with, that you're not going to, although you love them as a friend, I can't be involved with the drugs or the alcohol addiction part of it. Makes sense? So I think you should get help. Stepping in and intervening with a friend would be something that is hard to do. That's honesty, even though you might lose that friend. But honestly, what kind of a friend would it be if I lost them when I just told them that something like drugs or alcohol addiction is not something that's going to be something I can be involved with? Make sense? It doesn't mean our friendship is over. It just means I'm trying to shoot straight as a friend, to be honest with you. Make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. We have a couple of questions that are coming in. We've actually got a 2-for-1 here. We've got someone named Waterboy who has asked 2 great questions so far. So Waterboy, whoever you are, I'm going to promote you to panelist. Please accept that. Turn on your camera and your audio, and we'll get you up for both of those questions. I got 2 really good questions here.
Well, I love it being a water boy because you have to be able to hydrate, and that is, otherwise you become dehydrated. There he is, my buddy James Ludich, the water boy. I didn't know that was your name, James.
Hey, Uncle Joe. Yes, sir. I wasn't very good at football, so they had me run the water out to keep him hydrated.
That's it. He does do the water purification. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I was just wondering, our average ticket is currently 4,500. What if myself and some of my guys are nervous of showing, a $10,000, $15,000 option?
Well, you know what? Money's not my master, James, so I don't really worry about the money part of it. The prices are what the prices are. There's no getting around that. There's a financial reality that all of the prices for everything has gone through the roof. But all I can tell people is that uh, it may be more than you want to pay. Like that's why we actually put it right into the system. I've got some of the options which are probably too much, and it's got too much service. It's probably got too much. It's too permanent. It's too premium. I have some other options which are more affordable at the bottom, but I want you to choose the one that's right for your family. So you're not in a position to filter things on people. You're in a position to let people know what the range of solutions represent. I got some permanent solutions which will permanently make the water clear, and it'll be a more permanent service that takes care of the thing we sell to you. And I got the temporary one that does less of the water. It just does the kitchen sink. It doesn't do the whole house, for instance. Could be the cheapest option we have. And it won't last as long. It will be more temporary, that solution. Does that make sense? So a temporary, like what do you call it? Reverse osmosis for the sink only. It's going to need more service because the capacity is low. It's not going to last as long. It won't be as big of a scope of work, but it will be cheaper. And I do have one that is more permanent, which is a higher capacity, and it doesn't need to be serviced as much. And then the whole house would have pure water with no chlorine in it and things like that. So can I show you everything, and you could choose the one that's right for you? So that thing I would tell you, James, uh, get yourself out of the people aren't looking at you to blame when they got this problem. Chlorine in the water is a third thing. It's not, listen, there's me who cares for the client, there's the client who wants a real professional, and then there's the problem, which is a third thing of its own. It's not me or the client, so the client's not going to blame me. It's the water that's not got chlorine in it or corrosive elements to the water. That's a third item of its own. The water itself, or the problem and solution, is just something that is not a person, it's a thing. Us two people are trying to fix the thing so that your family is safe and healthy. Quality, reliability, customer service. I will provide the customer service for you. Now, you can choose anyone you want, like a card dealer in Las Vegas. The best way to put it is that if you were a card dealer at a casino, you're not trying to influence which card people choose. You're just saying, here's the cards, choose one. I want you to play at my table. It makes sense here. So um, don't try to influence what people choose. Let them choose the one that's right for them. Is the best way to put that. Make sense? And what's the alternative to that, James? We don't share all the problems. We don't share all the solutions. And what do? We just pick one for the customer. Who are we to pick a solution and then tell people they got to pay for it at $4,500 in your case, right? It sounds like the average people. Sounds like your technician chooses the average of 4,500 to show to people. What about the better ones? What about the cheaper ones? Let the client choose the one that's right for them. Well, as we know, 15% will choose the premium one, 74% will choose the mid-range ones, and only 11% will choose the bottom ones, which means that about 89% of the people would upgrade from where you're doing right now. I'd say the average sale would probably go up to about $9,600 based on what we're talking about. And you probably sell twice as much, at least to get started with. I think eventually, if the guy really bought into what we were talking about, the client would probably choose 3 times as much, probably 14,000 as opposed to 4,500. Make sense there? So, but remember, your guy is in charge of being not filtering the information, but showing people the information. My question would be to him, why are you so committed to hiding the better options when that's the best thing we have? Shouldn't we show people the best thing we have? And you as a leader have to also insist that if you work for my company, we want to show people the very finest we can do, because all the advertising and marketing talk about how much quality and reliability you do present, right? So is the marketing lying to the customer? You're turning us into a liar if you don't show the most premium thing first. That's what I would tell you. Make sense, sir? Hope that helps you there, James.
Very helpful. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you so much.
And then James actually had another question that I thought was great. James, do you remember what your first question was in the Q&A?
I don't.
All right, it was what would the option builder AI look like for water treatment? And I just thought that was a great question, Joe, if you could talk on that for a minute or two.
Well, I mean, if you if you did give us all the water treatment solutions you had, everything, and you had just a list of everything you had, and gave us the amount of time that it would take to do these things, we would dump that into the AI program, and it would be able to price those out instantly using your hourly rate is how it would apply. It would create all the options for the client based on what the observations you have are. So you'd say, we have a high chlorine content, we have a high mineral content, we have sulfur in the water, whatever you put in there. And then you have the solutions you already put into the app, and it would then present the most premium solution with the new valves and Wi-Fi show. So all the solutions you have would be the premium one. It would create it for you with the prices and everything in about 20 seconds. It would create the observations too. I can give you a sample of it today if you want to take a look at it. I'm not sure if I can do it I could try it with the water quality and see what happens. We haven't really programmed it for the water quality, but it would be easy to do, honestly, if you gave us the whole catalog of what you had and even gave us the prices. We could dump it in there for you, and then you'd be able to instantly use it in 20 seconds. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. That sounds really cool. Definitely get that over to you.
This way your service tech wouldn't have to do it himself. He'd be able to just put the information in there, and it would create the options. And you can command the AI program to change what you want, like put the customer's name. I'll do a little sample of it today, James. Thank you for asking, though.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. And then if I can ask one more question, and then that's like sometimes people like techs don't want to take the time to make the 6 options. They think it takes too long.
Well, if they got 20 seconds, I hope it does. That's not too long anymore.
Yeah.
I think that, James, I do think historically the hardest thing we ever taught people is how to make the options. I think that's going to make the difference between Service MVP right now having about 25 people on this meeting to us having 2.5 million people on this meeting someday. Because I think once people realize you can do these options in 20 seconds, I think everybody would want to jump on it. Honestly, make sense? I mean, really, in about 2 minutes between getting the first option you're going to get from the AI app and then modifying it or commanding a prompt that would change it a little bit, maybe twice. You're probably going to say within 2 minutes, the whole thing will make a perfect option sheet. Way better. You could probably sit there for 2 hours making an option sheet yourself. It wouldn't be as good as the AI option maker would do it. It's just, even myself, I'm like, man, I can't believe how good it is when I try to do it. I can't believe it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really excited for people to get it. I think it's going to be a game changer for everybody, honestly. You know, someday 1 million people will have that in their hands. That's what I'm hoping.
One of these days. Awesome. Thank you so much, James. Thank you for coming up. I'm going to real quick move you back to an attendee.
Thank you, James.
Awesome. Those are some great questions from James. All right. I do have an anonymous question right here. And we do have a couple more questions coming in. So awesome. The first anonymous question, I'm actually going to answer myself. It says, who can I speak to so I can sign up my team for this AI tool? Actually, one of our awesome team members, Timothy Stanley, just threw in the Zoom chat the link in order to sign up for that and to join the wait list and to get your team started on that journey. It is optionbuilder.ai, or you can click the link that Tim just put into the chat to get you there and sign you up directly. Great question. And next, we're going to go to Johnny Howard Sr. So, Mr. Johnny, I am going to promote you to panelist. Please accept that and then turn on your audio and video.
When I told Johnny that if he came to the meeting, I'd make sure he was featured live on the air. I don't think he believed me at the time, Ethan.
Well, we're putting our money where our mouth is right now.
I come on live with you, Joe? Yeah, you come on live right here in the Service MVP studios right now. As you can see, we got all the swag, the book and everything is right there. And
Oh yeah.
got my gym shoes up here. Somebody gave me from Helmy from Guaranteed Services, gave me those. And definitely I'm honored to have you right in the hot seat with me, Johnny. If you can come on live, that'd be great. He may not be. He may be. He's in Seattle. Johnny lives in Seattle, so he may be out there trying to put a kit. He goes crab hunting. He puts crabs into the bay and then winds up showing me a big picture of crabs. Hey, Johnny, how you doing?
There he is.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, I'm very grateful to be a part of this group here, and I'm looking forward to getting all the information. And so, Joe, I'd like to talk with you. I have read the book. It's amazing and very helpful. I would like to talk with you about some of the things that we're personally going through. And so just so the team knows, I have, an extensive sales background, and I'm still struggling with a few things that I'd like you to kind of comment on. And so a lot of the stuff that we're doing, Joe, is marketed generated leads, right? Trying to sell equipment, trying to service the customer and help them out with their needs and trying to find out what the true purpose of our visit is. And so I'm finding that we're having good conversations, but I believe not asking the right questions. And so I just had a client this morning, 8 o'clock. They were looking for an AC add-on. We had some height restrictions and were unable to put a coil in there. So the AC add-on for their particular situation just would not work. And so we start to explore the ductless options, right? And so the products that we sell are Daikin, and we're also using Hisense, right? More budget friendly. And so I found, I'm asking the customer, hey, what's really important to you? What are the goals that you're trying to get accomplished? How does this feel up here? Which one is the most comfortable area? Who have you been working with in the past? Just the general questions, just to kind of get the conversation headed down the avenue to where they're starting to open up and kind of be more forthcoming to me. After, going through the exercise of walking around the house, grabbing the data plate information off of the furnace, realizing that a coil will not fit, expressing that to the customer, having them with me throughout the process as much as I can, and having them engaged, right? Asking them some questions. Hey, is this? Do you see how this doesn't work? And things of that nature. And the customers seemed responsive to the entire interaction. The husband was there, was even kind of joking around with the wife. The wife seemed to be receptive. We decided, like I said, to flip to the ductless mini split options. And when we started to explore that, everything still seemed like it was going for them to make a decision, right? I even added some value adders, like gave them some complimentary maintenance packages, really talked about the company, about, how we're a local company, and how long we've been in business, the type of training that we've been through, and how important it is for our team, for our clients, to have good results. Went through all that. As soon as I went to the numbers, I felt the backup, right? And I asked them, well, which one of these things, or which one of these options do you think works best for your family? Well, we don't really, our bedroom, they mentioned our bedroom doesn't seem to get too hot. It's really the kids that we're focused on. And we spend most of our time in the living room, right? So then I said, okay, let's go ahead and get these, the single head option out of the way. Let's go ahead and set aside the 4-head option as well, right? And so I kind of tried to direct the conversation and start asking them, well, how does the 3-head kind of sound for you, right? I didn't really get much of a response because it was the wrong question, right? And I kind of, had the 2 options. So I had 4. I started out with 6 and I whittled down to 4, So now we're at the the options for is the 3-head or the 4-head, which really takes care of everything that they had mentioned that they had wanted before we talked about price. And so we discussed that they liked the 4-head option. They admitted to me that they'd rather have them all up there because it really would take care of everybody's room, even when they're asleep at night. But then I got well, yeah, we want to pay cash, right? Is there a cash discount? Well, if we could move forward, I could probably make a call out. I don't decide on price. A manager, he and I have a good work relationship. I'd be happy to reach out for you. And I let him know that, I'm here to serve you. And it's really no bother to me to see if there's something we can do for him, right? Didn't move him any further. So then I also brought up the rebates. We discussed about the Washington State rebates in regards to heat pumps. We talked about how that's going to be going away here soon, trying to create a little urgency. I don't know if that was the right or wrong decision, but we talked about that. Then beyond that, they also asked, I also mentioned that, hey, my company kind of does things because my boss is motivated. I'm filling upcoming slots. If you can kind of, let me know if you're willing to move forward, let's say next week on Wednesday, that gives me a little bit more leverage to kind of to help us out here. And I still got we need to think about it. Can you talk to me about that a little bit?
That's not bad. Well, honestly, it sounded like a lot of what you were doing would be on point. However, I do hear some things that are kind of would be something I can give you some tips here, I think would help you. Number one, I would advise you to not talk about the problems until after you have the prices written down. So you can go through it all and you can talk about, instead of talking about the technical stuff, ask people about their lifestyle and things like that. So what are you guys doing for fun this summer? Any fun activities while you're measuring for that coil or checking it out? Like, that's not the time to bring up the problem, because you bring up the problem, it kind of already alerts people like they're spending too much time with the problem now. Does that make sense? So we only want the problem to be something people have to experience for just a short explanation. Joe, right now the problem is that a central system is not going to fit. That would be once we have the prices written out, then I would then tell them that. So number one, shut up when you diagnose and don't tell people the problem until after you have written down the solutions. Because if you tell me the problem while you're diagnosing, then they're like, I wonder how much that's going to cost. Or they're starting to assimilate in their brain. They're trying to put together what kind of solution could we possibly do, and it becomes frustrating. So now the appointment becomes frustrating, not something where there's not enough harmony. You become more of a problem bringing up these problems than you become a solution. Does that make sense? Like the problem we want to bring up in about 15 minutes or 12 minutes, the solutions are probably going to spend about an hour on the solutions, or half an hour on the solutions, if you will. It makes sense here. So don't bring more problems, the amount of time we spend on the problem, as opposed to the amount of time we spend on the solution. And that's really one of the reasons why the option maker, I think, is going to be good, because this way you can just put the data in there. It will explain the problem at the same time it creates solutions. I think that will be a great benefit for everybody who does this program. So you will reduce the amount of time it takes to do that. So number one, that's the first thing. Number two, some of the things I saw at the end, you were kind of hunting and pecking for a way to move this forward, like the cash discount. Or let me ask you a question though, Johnny. Was it a monthly payment that you did on that, or was it a full payment on that option?
Monthly payment, but the wife kind of I don't want to say forced me or directed me. She's like, I want to see the whole number.
That's fine. Not a problem. But you did do that first. I'm glad to hear that. So that's good. So it sounds like you're on point with everything. Now, at the end, though, it sounds like you were kind of hunting and pecking for a way to go forward. Does that sound right? That you're kind of like trial and error. But you weren't really certain you weren't really certain how to manage the opportunity at the end. Because it sounded like, other than the fact that maybe you leaked out a little too much information in the beginning, it's not the kiss of death. You could still move forward at the end here. And it does sound like you have a range of solutions with the 4-head, the 3-head. Let's just do the one room if you want to, or something like that. Sounds like you had something for everybody that could be done there, right? So that's good. Now, let's go over how at the end you can make it more certain as opposed to kind of hunting and pecking for the end. So here's what it sounds like. You ready on this, Johnny?
Yes, sir.
You be the customer and I'll be you. Okay. So write this down and make sure you record it and listen to this. It's called Get a Clear Future. And we actually have a course on it in the Service MVP course library. I definitely recommend everybody watch it. But here's what it sounds like. So Joe, we just need time to think about it. Go ahead and tell me all that, Johnny. So Joe, so Johnny, we've seen everything. We could just do the 3 heads or even the single head. So what should we do?
Joe, we just need time to think about it.
Not a problem, Johnny. I appreciate that. Well, first of all, can I just say something?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you for wanting to think about it. I'm surprised that you haven't, that you are still thinking about it. At least you haven't rejected it. And I appreciate the fact that you are open-minded and optimistic about getting the solution. That makes me happy. So thank you so much. Now, Johnny, let me ask you a question. At this point, you've seen the problems about how to fit that coil in there. It's not going to work. And you've seen the problems about the ductwork's not going to be adequate for those rooms. So you do see the problem, right? And you've seen the solutions at this point. Now, at this point, are you interested in having me manage this project and taking this job forward and getting the job done still? Or are you not interested? It's okay. If you're not interested, Johnny, it's okay. And I'll still be your friend. Okay. So you can always tell me no, and I'll still be your friend. So are you interested, or do you want to tell me no, that you're not interested at this point?
No, Joe, it's not that I'm interested. I just need to check my finances and I want to get one more quote.
Regardless of that, are you interested or not interested?
I'm interested.
Okay, good. Well, again, thank you for being interested, John, because a lot of times people aren't interested. And I want you to be honest with me. If you're not interested, I'll still be your friend. So are you sure you're interested at this point to confirm? Are you interested or not interested? One more time.
No, I'm interested. I just, I have a rule. I just get more than one quote.
Johnny, I invite that. I totally invite that. I hope you get 10 quotes. It doesn't make a difference to me. I can't control how many quotes you get.